Okay, and we are live. Hello, and a huge thank you to Chris for coming and joining me today.
Oh, not at all. Thank you for having me, Jen.
My pleasure. So, hello, Cindy, if you are still around hearing us. And if you are, Cindy, I have my beautiful bracelet on you made me and sent me. Hey, Sandra and Simon.
Oh, hang on. I'm about to.
Oh,
Sorry,
name.
every time.
Oh, good. Yeah, it must be late for most of you, I'm guessing. So, all right. So as we go along, as you know, when I chat to people, it is I don't have pre-prepped questions. Chris and I have not really spoken about anything prior to this that we're going to talk about because I just want it to be a normal conversation. And so I get to find out things at the same time as everyone else. So we've got anyone else come in. Oh, hey, Zane. Zane's here too. So yeah, if you have questions, as always, please pop them in caps. I will do my best to not get too engrossed in the conversation and make sure I check comments as well. So, and you can see the comments too, can't you, Chris?
Yeah, I've got YouTube open and I can obviously see it on StreamYard, so I should hopefully be able to, to catch the ones that you don't.
Awesome. So one of the main reasons I really wanted to get you on here, because, well, I love your channel. I love everything you do. And
Well, thank you.
even though you started pretty recently, you put out a lot of content. You're always doing collaborations with other people. So we kind of get to see you all around. And of course, we've all known you in the community prior.
Yeah.
But there's not, I guess, much so far that we've kind of learnt about you from like your history with the tarot or kind of more that behind the scenes personal side. So, because I'm nosy and really love you as a person, I don't want to bring it out live on the internet rather than just ask. So, and hey, Patrice. So, the first thing I guess I'm really curious to know is where did it all start for you? Whether it was tarot, spirituality, like where did it all begin?
Um, my interest in tarot began when I was really young. I think I actually got my first deck when I was about 9 or 10. I can't remember the exact age, but I was in primary school, which is like elementary school.
How did you
You
come
know,
about getting a deck at that age?
so like my mum worked in a pub, so she did, and they used to do tarot nights. So my mum would get her cards read at the tarot nights. And I was always fascinated. Like my mum would come home and tell us all about what she was obviously like future told. She was just like, I got my future told, so we used to hear all about what they told her and stuff. Um,
Sorry, I'm
so
going to interrupt. When she first did that, what was like your reaction and your family's reaction to her talking about it?
I'm probably too young to really remember the in-depth details, but I can just remember it being a normal thing for my mum. I mean, it wasn't like they only did it once in a while, maybe once a month or once every couple of months. The pub that she worked in would do like tarot nights. I
Yeah.
think it's quite common. Like you still get it over here, where pubs will have like a psychic night or a tarot night or whatever you want to call it. So I can just remember being like really young and being fascinated with it. And then there was a show, a television show it was Channel 5 over here. It was called Sunset Beach. And it was set, oh gosh, where was it set? Over in the States. I'd imagine somewhere over in the west coast of the US somewhere. Um, and there was a tarot reader in it called Madame Carmen. And she had tarot cards as well. So see between seeing that and hearing about it, I think like at some point the conversation just turned to, oh, I would quite like to try that. And my mum was like, "Ah, yeah, let's do that. Let's get a wee tarot deck." So we went to Waterstones, the bookshop, one day when we were in town. And we just kind of went up to the counter and asked the guy behind the counter. And he was really, really helpful. Like he basically brought out all the decks that they had, And then he started asking me questions like, what kind of stuff do you like? You know, what kind of art styles do you like? I can't even remember the questions, but I'm imagining this is how it worked because he was basically narrowing it down, taking decks off the table each time. And it came down, so it eventually came down to two. And it was this one, which is the one I ended up getting,
Yeah.
and one other one. And you know, see, for the life of me, I have no idea what the other one was, and I've always wanted to know what it was. I think I've got a suspicion that it might have been the Universal weight. So like the same deck but with a different colouring. With who is it that did the colouring for the Universal? Oh,
I don't
it's
remember. Yeah.
Hanson. The Hanson Roberts is
Okay.
the person that did that. I think it might have been. But anyway, because I remember the box being white, but that's the only thing that I remember. So I've got a feeling it might have been that one, but really I have no idea. So
Wow.
anyway, yeah, it came down to that, and then I picked this one,
That
and
is
yeah, I've
so
been hooked
cool.
hard since.
Yeah. I remember it was only like last year at my local, it's like 40 minutes away. And unfortunately they closed with COVID, but I was in there one day and there was two young teens in there and they were asking about a tarot deck. And this shop had hundreds of tarot decks. And the girl behind the counter just instantly grabbed like the original RWS and went, you start with this one. And I just wanted to jump in and go, no. The fact that he went through all that with you, I think first is impressive. And so obviously it was never an issue in your family. You never had to justify anything. It was so normal.
No, not with my mum anyway. My mum was always kind of into it, and she's always been kind of open with that kind of stuff. Like I was brought up Catholic, so I'm strictly speaking, I'm a Roman Catholic, and I was brought up that way, but I don't practice anymore. I'm quite kind of got a bit of an issue with the idea of organised religion now. But that's how I was brought up. But and like my gran, my mum's mum, she's a devout Catholic. You know, she's always went to mass every week and that kind of thing. But even my gran never like it was never like, oh, you must not do this kind of thing. It was always clear that she thought, oh, you know, that's a lot of rubbish, or you know, whatever word she would have used at the time to a 10-year-old child. But um, no, they never had any issue with it, to be honest.
Wow, that's incredible. I'm going to quickly say hello to everyone who's come in. So I've seen Els come in. Hey, Jonathan. Jackie, did I say hello to you? If I didn't, hello. Hello, beautiful Candy. I think I said hello to Patrice. If not, hello. Hey, Robin. Who else have we got? Hey, Fairy Ran. And hopefully I have said hi to everyone.
I'm
And
always really impressed how you guys can catch everyone so quickly when you do that. Like, and I was especially thinking, see when Simon was doing the roster and he's interview with Sandra, and he just kind of rhymes them off. There's no hesitation. It's just like, hi, this person, hi, that person. For me, I've got to sit and like really think, like, have I already said hi to them? Maybe I have, but maybe I'm not, so I better say hi again. It takes me forever, so it does. I'm so easily distracted.
I couldn't remember who I had and hadn't said hello. Hey, Woodbrush Cottage. No, I'm terrible. I was last night. I was all over the place with Julie trying to keep up with the comments and all of that. So, yeah. And given there's a lot less people on my channel than on Simon's channel. So,
Oh, I'm impressed.
and so you have a brother, don't you? Is it just the one brother you have?
No, well, altogether, I suppose if you count I call everyone my brothers and sisters. Like I've got a step brother, I guess, and I've got half brother and half sisters, but they're all my brothers and sisters. So I've got 3 brothers and 3 sisters altogether, and I'm the oldest of the lot.
Gosh. So
Yeah.
So you were obviously fascinated with the tarot when like Mum was talking about it. What were they like when it came to it? Were you the only one who followed it? Did anyone else get into
Yeah.
it?
So like my mum's got 3 kids. My mum's got me and 2 of my brothers. And then my other brother and my 3 sisters are on my dad's side. So it was just me, yeah, because Connor's my youngest brother is he's 10 or 11 years younger than me. So he was
Okay.
far too, in fact, he wouldn't even have been born at the time when I got my first deck. And my other brother, the middle brother, he's just interested in football.
Okay.
It's just one of those ones, typical lad. And he kind of pretty much still is, to be honest with you. That's that's always been the way he's been. So no, it's just me. I'm a bit of an oddball.
And what are they like now when it comes to you doing this?
So they don't know really. They
Okay.
don't. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I'd kind of read cards. I went through phases of being really into it when I was younger and when I was still living at home. But I moved out of my mum's house when I was 21. So 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And ever since then, it's never been a topic that's come up or that we've talked about. So to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if they've forgotten all about it. And I've not mentioned no one in my family or really my friends, apart from my partner, knows about my YouTube channel or anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I'd imagine they would be cool with it. Do you know what I mean? They wouldn't have an issue with it, but yeah, no, none of them know about it.
Yeah. I don't tell people about my YouTube channel.
Right,
My parents kind of know I do something online, but
right,
that's it.
okay, yeah,
My kids and my hubby, and that's pretty much it. Because I don't want them watching. So,
yeah. No, I'm kind of the same. I understand that.
so what is Sandy like when it comes to you doing the tarot?
Um, I hat off to him. Like Sandy's my best friend. He's my favourite person in the whole wide world. Sandy is not into it one bit. He like lovingly, not in a malicious way or a nasty way or anything, but Sandy, I think what is it? He refers to something like Chris's mumbo jumbo, your mumbo jumbo, or something like that. He uses a word like that
Yeah.
that has been used offensively, but he uses it in a loving way. It's just like a kind of wee pet word, I guess.
Yeah.
So he's not into it one bit. Like it's just not his thing, which is fair enough. But he's like he's so supportive in a way, like he's never ever grudged me buying tarot decks or anything like that. In fact, he's encouraged me.
Mhm.
He's always like whenever I'm really kind of cautious when I'm buying decks. I don't think I've bought a deck in the last month and a half or something. So
Mhm.
I'm always quite cautious about it. Um, he's always the one saying, just get it if you like it, and if you use it, and then get it. Just spend a bit of money on yourself, kind of thing. So he's like that, and like for my birthday's kind of coming up, and he's trying to find me a good tarot deck, and he's putting a lot of thought into it, like to a point where today we were talking, he was like, oh, I don't know if you'll like it. And I'm like, listen, see if you've picked it out and you like it, I'm going to love it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter whether it's something I would have normally picked out for myself. The fact that you went to the effort means I would love it. And he was like, yeah, I don't know. And I was like, listen, do you want me to put you in touch with somebody, like one of my kind of tarot friends, and they can kind of help you out? Do you know what I mean? So yeah, sorry, that was a really long answer to a really simple question. So yeah, it's not his thing at all, but he's the most supportive person I could possibly ask for, if that makes sense.
Yeah, total sense. Yeah, I'm always getting crap for being the woo woo mum and all of that weirdo. And hello, Becca. I've seen Becca has come in. So you started so early with the tarot deck. How did it kind of develop from there? Did you do what a lot of us do, where you kind of put it down for a while, you come back to it, or did you always kind of go?
Yeah, no, it's always gone in phases. So, like I would pick it up and I would be kind of right into it for a while, and then I would put it down or put it away, and I wouldn't, look at it again for another while. I'm always into something. I'm always going through a phase. Whether it's into playing a certain game or there's always something. And tarot just seems to be something that's always come back around, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah.
yeah. So, one of the other things, and pretty much the only thing I asked was, have you had any kind of spooky, scary, paranormal experiences? And that's where we left it
Yeah.
because I didn't want to know what it was,
Right.
but we got on. So
Yeah.
tell us about anything that's happened growing up.
Okay, so this isn't anything too interesting, by the way, at least in my opinion. But I've got a couple of wee things. So the first thing, I guess, and this is just you might call it a big synchronicity. I was born pretty much at the exact same time, as in like, definitely day, hour, probably minute, the exact same time that my great granny died. So this is my mum's dad's mother. I was born at the exact same time she died. Um, so that's always been a wee thing. And
Like
then the other thing,
as well,
sorry,
same
what was
year as
that? Sorry.
well,
Yeah,
the same.
yeah, like yeah, same year. Yeah, so the exact same time. I mean, like it happened at the same time. My mum was in the hospital. Um, my mum was in the hospital in labour with me. Her dad, so it was her dad's mum, my mum's dad's mum. Um, my papa. So my papa was like obviously had been on the phone with my nanny, and told her like obviously like she's in labour kind of thing. Um, Now my nanny and my mum's dad, my papa, they worked in a fruit market together. So
Yeah.
my nanny owned this fruit market, and so she had gone home not feeling well, right? So my papa had taken her home. My recollection of the story is he had been on the phone to tell her when my mum had gone into labour, and obviously spoke to her. And then not long after that, he found out that my mum had me. He phoned her to tell her that she'd had me, and there was no answer. And he basically went to the house and found her, and she'd passed away. So it was pretty much because of everything that happened. We know that it was pretty much down to definitely down to an hour, probably down to shorter time than that. But
God, that just gave
uh,
me goosebumps. Wow. So, and
yeah,
and as you said, it's not like she was even ill, like in hospital. It was
no,
expected. It
no,
was
no,
wow.
nothing at all, nothing at all. There was nothing like that that we're aware of. So yeah, so and I've got my other wee kind of story thing that I was going to tell you.
Yeah.
Um, when so like my nanny, the person that died at the same time I was born, her and my mum never really got on, right? She was a bit, I think she was a bit of a difficult person, my nanny. Um, and she used to do like so she owned this kind of fruit shop, this fruit market shop thing. She and my mum worked in it, so my mum and my mum, my gran, it was like a family thing. So they
Yeah.
all worked in it at one point, and so my mum's always told us stories about what Nanny used to do in the in the shop. And one of the well, so there was one particular time when we were in. It was when I lived at home, and we were in the kitchen, and it was my mum and my uncle were sitting at the kitchen table, right? My mum and my uncle John. So they were kind of sitting across from each other, and I was just kind of standing in the kitchen. So I was maybe like what 4 feet away from the table,
Mm.
and I think it was my Uncle John's cup. There was a coffee cup, a cup of coffee he had, right? And it was just kind of sitting on the table on the placemat. And it was a solid metal cup. Now, it wasn't dangling. There was nothing, nothing happening. It had been sitting there for ages, right? And my mum and my Uncle John were kind of recalling funny stories about my nanny. Um, and when they were talking at one point, this coffee cup just went, whoosh, it just fell of its own volition. Now, I'm still to this day, I'm the biggest kind of bullshit caller, right? See if I'm listening to something and I think I smell shite, then I'm like, even if I don't say it, even if I'm being respectful and don't say it, my brain's still like, no, did you, out? This happened.
I'm
Do you know what I
worried
mean?
now.
Right in front of my eyes, this happened. Now, the other thing about it was John's coffee was like almost done. It was down to like the dregs. And see when it spilled, you would think it was a whole cup of coffee that had spilled. The amount of coffee that came out of his cup and spilt all over. And it was
Wow.
right when they were talking about her. So it was. So it was just like the boat, like we were all like, that was her, that was Nanny. That was her saying, like, stop talking about me, you bastards.
How old were you at that point?
Oh gosh, I was probably 14, 15-ish, I
Did
think.
it did it scare you or anything like that?
Not scare me, no. Which is funny because I'm not a I'm not a shite bag, but I hate getting frights.
Hmm.
See frighty things, like jumpy things, jumpy frights. I am the worst. I am the world's worst. I'm
Same.
such a drama queen when it comes to getting a fright. Sandy's got to feed Loki. He's got to feed my snake for me because I can't deal with how quickly that he strikes. You know,
Uh-huh.
like it's terrible. I'm so bad. Um, so yeah, I'm the worst. So normally I'm really bad, but at the time it just didn't. I didn't feel phased at all. Like it didn't freak me out. It didn't phase me. I was a wee bit like, wow. Do you know what I mean? I was like, wow, that's so cool, kind of thing, like that way. But
Yeah.
no, I didn't. I don't remember being scared at all.
Wow, that's incredible. And we've had some more people come in. Hello, beautiful Sedana. Who else did I see come in? Hey, Mandy. Hey, Naomi. Yeah, well, that's really cool. What about things like imaginary friends, that type of thing growing up, like dreams, anything like that?
Never had an imaginary friend. No, no,
Mhm.
it's something that I never even. Well, I certainly don't remember having one, and I don't think I ever did. I've never heard a story about me having an imaginary friend. I don't know if that's maybe because it's only 2 years between me and my kind of next in line brother.
Yeah.
So I don't know if maybe because I had another person, we were in the same room like for years and years and years. So maybe that's why, because I always had someone else there. I didn't
Mhm.
need to make someone up because, do you know what I mean? Like, so yeah. And as far as dreams go, like I'm terrible at not remembering my dreams. I've actually started doing this thing. Um, I keep one of my tarot decks beside my bed, and every night I pull a card. I pull a dream card, I call it. Like what kind of dreams am I going to have? Just that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And the idea is, and this might be a lot of bullshit. In fact, you're a psychologist, so you can call me out if it is. But my thinking is, if I'm kind of like almost tying it to something, some conscious act, then I'm kind of maybe more likely to remember it. Do you know what I mean? And it's funny because I did it at the start of the week, and Ben BJam can back me up here because we message and I was like, I've pulled death for my dream card, and then I woke up in the morning and I realised I was dreaming about a funeral. Um, I don't remember. It's funny, right? Because it wasn't really the funeral; it was the wake. So trust me, to be dreaming about the food bit. But typical. But yeah, I don't remember whose it was or what it was about. I just know that it was a funeral I was at and I pulled the death card. So it's that kind of thing. I can remember that because obviously I pulled the death card and it linked in.
Yeah.
Um, so my idea is that way I can hopefully remember them better. But I don't tend to remember my dreams that
Yeah.
well.
That's a really good way to prompt you though to try and remember. Because yeah, I rarely remember my dreams. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Oh, hey Jen, we've got Jen in here now. Wow. So given that you sort of like that incredible story of you being born pretty much the moment that your grandma passed,
Yeah.
have you ever felt like her presence around you, or have you ever tried to connect with her through tarot or anything like that?
No, do you know, I think because I didn't know her,
Yeah.
it's difficult. I've never been one to try and get in touch with. Well, I've never really been one to contact the afterlife at all.
Mhm.
It's never really been something that I've tried to do. Um, I don't. My personal view, and this is very much subject to change, but my view is that tarot works as a kind of inspiration, a kind of tool. Do you know what I mean? The way I look at it is, you know, we all walk about with our heads up our arses most of the time. Some of us more than others, me probably most of all. And the tarot works by engaging your conscious mind. It basically, you know, if you pull a card and it's saying to you, right, okay, today you're going to have this is going to happen. You know, you're maybe going to have to look at taking action, stop sitting planning, and actually do something. Get up off your arse and do something. If I've kind of thought that, then you know that's going to affect how I go about my day. You know, and it's going to make me pick up on things that normally I would have been oblivious to. So that's my opinion on how it works. I've never really been one to think, oh, this works because, you know, there's spirits intervening and making these cards come up. So I think for that reason, and that I mean that, by the way, I mean that in no disrespect to anyone's beliefs. Like my kind of thing above all is to respect everybody else's beliefs, regardless of what you think is behind everything, you know, whether you think it's God, Gaia, or SpongeBob fucking SquarePants. Do you know what I mean? You respect everybody's beliefs, and no one has got the right to tell anyone that anyone else is wrong. But anyway, so I just had to kind of make that clear that I wasn't meaning that in a demeaning way or anything like that.
Yeah.
I lost my train of thought though. What was I saying?
Just talking about the way you view tarot.
Yeah. But why did I go into that?
Well, even though like we're just talking about that spirit connection, so even though you don't sort of see that as being part of tarot, after you witness this experience with the coffee cup, were you ever like since then interested going, I want to see more of that. I want to have these experiences, or that terrifies me. I don't want to see anything like that again.
I suppose my view on the matter is it's not something that I want to mess with without understanding it properly. And I think it would be really difficult for someone to properly understand it. It's probably one of those things that you get to know by experiencing it, you know. So for that reason, it would probably be quite difficult for me to go through that door, because you obviously you hear horror stories about things that have happened to people that have messed with like the occult and, you know, all sorts of things like that. And without fully understanding it, I'm not sure that I would be in too much of a hurry to, you know, to go there.
Yeah. Did any other experiences like that happen, like for your, like given your mum was sort of quite a believer and into this too, did she ever talk about other experiences outside of like a tarot reading?
No, nothing that springs to mind really all that quickly. I mean, recently like people have been talking about like orbs and stuff, you know, seeing orbs. And I'll be totally honest, I never really realised or knew that that was a thing until very recently, until I'd probably like kind of picked up on it, like wee bits and bobs of it, but it wasn't until I think it might have been Jilly's live with Lavender Moon with Amber. When Jilly was talking about it, that I really thought, like I put a lot. I think Jilly is an amazing person. I've got a lot of respect for Jilly, and because Jilly was telling her story like that, I put a lot of credence in it. So see if we'd had this conversation before I'd heard Jilly talking about that, to be honest with you, I might have been a lot more skeptical. But see, because I feel like I know Jilly, I know her well enough to know that she doesn't make shit up like that. That's where I'm like, right, okay, well, there must be something to it. So I've lost my train of thought again. Jeez. Do you know, I'm mixing my drinks, Jen. I'm mixing my drinks because I've only got like that much beer left, and then I've got a nice big gin waiting for me for after the beer's done. So I'm needing to get hammered. So it'll either get really good, I'll either get like kind of really like kind of in touch with my thoughts and I won't lose my train of thought, or it'll go in the opposite direction and it'll all go tits up in the air.
I don't drink, and that's what my brain is like on a daily basis. Sorry. As you saw in our messages, and me thinking Saturdays with Thursdays. Oh,
yeah, Hen said to me, for the benefit of the people in the chat, Hen, we were talking try to work out the logistics of, and I'd managed to work out that Jen is 9 hours ahead of me, which works well for my brain because when I used to work in the supermarket, I worked in 9 hour shifts. So I worked in like 10 till 7 or 9 till 6. So I kind of like immediately now know what time you're in just by looking at my own time.
Yeah.
So it must be 7:30 in the morning for you right now because it's like 10:30, 7:30. But anyway, yeah, we'd got our heads around that, and then Jen was like, "Yeah, so the third for me that's Thursday," and I was like, "Well, hang on a minute. If it's Saturday for me, how could it possibly be Thursday for you?" I was like, "Have I really missed the boat? Like, is there places in the world that are days ahead and behind us? Like, how far does this time thing go?" So yeah, no, I enjoyed that. You gave me a chuckle.
Oh my, that morning was such a write-off. The crap that came out of my mouth to my husband, it was literally like, you need to have like a compassionate leave day because you will come home and like the animals will be like potted, like the plants are going to be inside in the bed being fed animal food. Like, I don't know what's going to happen if you walk out that door this morning. That is how bad. So see, I don't even need to drink to be like that.
No, listen, you're in good company. I'm pretty much the same all the time. Yeah, it's hard to. I lose my train of thought quite a lot. That's a problem that I've got. I even do it sometimes when I'm doing readings. If you've watched me doing readings, you've probably caught on to me doing it. Like I feel as though quite often I'll go off on a tangent, but then I'll forget how to get back to where I was. There's a Scottish comedian called Billy Connolly. Don't know if anyone knows him.
Yeah.
So Billy Connolly's famous for doing that, and he knows it. He makes a joke out of it. He goes off in tangents, and he'll tell wee funny stories, and then he'll go, "What was I talking about? I've forgotten." And then he'll just kind of keep going and go off until he eventually remembers and where he started. So I'm really bad for that.
Yeah, I think when you got what you call your rambling in tarot readings, I think all makes perfect sense when I've watched you do them. So yeah,
that's good. Thank you.
It's the ugly Buddha I have. It's put me in a time warp, possibly Candy.
Yeah, either that or she's on a different planet.
I was told by someone in the crystal shop that I came from a different planet, so it wouldn't surprise me. So how does tarot play out day to day for you?
So I'm trying to do my daily pool where I do strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities.
Yeah.
And I talked a wee bit recently. I've only started doing that very recently, but this week it's been full of like synchronicities, like weird things. So yeah, let me see if I can try and remember. So the first day, I think it was Tuesday. So I did it on Tuesday, right? And I don't remember all the cards, but I remember that in opportunities, I got the 7 of coins. It's in the everyday enchantment, so pentacles are coins and swords are blades.
Mm-hmm.
7 of coins in my opportunities. And I thought, all right, okay, so, I kind of defined that for myself and what it might mean. Went about my day and that was fine. The next day I did my card pulls and the 7 of coins showed up in the strengths position. And I thought, all right, okay, so it was an opportunity for me, and now it's strengths. So that's quite interesting. That perhaps shows that whatever that was meaning, I've made the best of it if it's my strength today. So I thought that was quite cool. And then the Hierophant was in the opportunities for that day. And then the next day, I did my 3 card pull, and the Hierophant had come up again, but it switched to the weaknesses section. So I thought, all right, okay, so obviously I've not taken that opportunity. I've not made the most out of that if it's now a weakness.
Yeah.
That's what I'm taking it to mean anyway. So I've been doing that. And like I'd said, I try and pull a card at night, just a kind of dream card, I call it. And it's, like I said, it's not like a kind of divinatory thing, I don't think. I'm really just doing it as a tool for myself because who can be arsed with a dream journal? Let's be honest. Like the last thing I want to do when I wake up in the morning is sit and write down what's happened. I just can't. I get up out of my bed, jump right into the shower, and then frantically try and sign on to work like on time to make it look as if I've been corpus mentis at 6:30 when I'm meant to start. So I don't have time for a dream journal. So yeah, that's the dream card thing. And then there's obviously like days where I'm doing like kind of readings lives. So I'll be doing kind of readings for people on here. So that's pretty much it on a frequent basis, a consistent basis. That's what I do. And then there might be the odd kind of thing in between.
And hello, Ishi, and hello, Aquarius Owl. So you do lots of readings for people like online. Do you read for people in real life?
Not in a long time, no. I used to do readings for my mum and her friends. Like when I lived at home and when I was kind of reading tarot when I was younger. My mum used to get me to do readings for her and for her friends and stuff. And that was good fun. I remember thinking I didn't feel as though I was very good at it. My mum used to say, "No, you are. I think you are good at it." But then that's what your mum's meant to say, isn't it? She's supposed to kind of give you compliments and build you up. I don't think I really was all that good at it when I was younger, to be honest with you. I didn't feel like I was. So yeah, no, that's really I mean, gosh, when would have been the last time that I actually read for someone in person? Must have been years ago, like years and years ago. Although it's something I'm keen to do, but I just obviously with everything that's going on right now anyway. But I don't really know what I would do to put myself out there and do that, you know?
Yeah, because that was going to be my next question. Do you plan on doing that at some point?
Yeah. Well, do you know, I kind of have it in the back of my mind that someday I might. Right, so that means to me that I probably will, because see when I kind of, see if you'd asked me 4 months ago, will you ever have a YouTube channel? Will you ever put yourself out there on YouTube? I would have been like, absolutely not, no chance, never in a million years.
Yeah.
And I've kind of learned this lesson over and over again, like never say never. Like I'm very kind of like I know myself that I'm very kind of subject to change. Do you know what I mean? I can change my mind about things, and yeah, I don't think I'm a stubborn person. I would never like kind of stubbornly stick to one point of view just because I feel like I'm obliged to because I've said it at one point. So yeah, sorry, another really long answer to a really yes no simple question.
I love your
Maybe
ramble.
sorry.
Speak ramble. Hello, have you watched any of my videos? Yeah, so, and you're right, never say never. So, but because it's very different doing it online when it's quick and you can't spend that time versus actually doing it in person, and you can give the person on the other side of the table so much more than what you can do in like a quick 3-card reading.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, I suppose I should probably try and do it like kind of what's the word, like through Zoom or Skype, or do you know what I mean, like this, in a kind of conference call type idea, because that would at least like you would have that kind of one-to-one interaction, the back and forth where you can say things and ask questions and they can kind of respond and all that. You would have that dynamic at least.
Yeah, that's how I'm doing all of mine going forward. It's just through Zoom, or people are not so comfortable with that through, phone call, that kind of thing. But yeah, I love that idea far more than going out and doing, especially at the moment. So yeah. Hey, Justin, welcome.
Oh, hi, Justin. How you doing?
One thing I'm curious of, you talk about your niece and how much you love having her, and I know she's only young. But when she comes to you, like if you don't really talk about any of the tarot stuff to other family members, does she ever see your tarot deck sitting around? Does she ever ask about them? How do you think her parents would react if you're asking and you're telling?
Yeah. So I suppose the first thing is my niece is I refer to her as my niece, and she refers to us as Uncle Chris and Uncle Sandy. But her mum and dad are my best friends. We're not blood related.
Oh, okay.
So she's not. So basically, I suppose Emma, her mum, kind of knows that I was into it at some point. And she works from home, but on Mondays before Scotland went into strict lockdown where you couldn't get into other people's houses, she would come over here and work from my desk on a Monday. And like it's here, and like my tarot decks are there, so like they're out there for her to see. So she kind of knows, but her husband doesn't. And so what I was getting at there was she's not like my sister, where she's one of the people that kind of knows that I did it when I was younger and stuff like that, to that degree. Sophie's, but my niece is too young. She's 2, so she's too young to even. Well, she's too young to see up to the shelf where I keep them for a start. But she's never really seen them. And she's never asked. To be honest, I'll probably, out of respect for her mum and dad, because they're kind of really not religious, or her dad's basically a PhD in physics or chemical physics or something like that. So he's a very kind of logical, almost Sheldon type character, who would take a dim view on that and wouldn't want me really kind of getting his daughter into that. And I don't say that in a bad way towards him. Like I say, he's one of my best friends and I love him to bits. But out of respect for him and for them, I probably wouldn't have her involved that much in it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Do you ever have plans on having a child?
I don't think so. No.
Point where you can just shut up.
No, not at all. No, that's absolutely fine. No, I don't think we will. No. If you'd asked me this when I was younger, then yeah, because like, well, as I've said, I had 6 younger brothers and sisters. My youngest sister just now, oh gosh, what age is she? I've got to go down. I've got to go down and age them all to work out what age they all are in order. So gosh, 21. Julia will be 21. So she's probably about 16, right? So that's the age gap. So I'm used to being around younger kids. And when I was younger, my mum was a childminder, so there was always kids around. So I love kids and I get on really well with kids. I love kids and kids love me type thing. But Sandy's not got that. So he's not really that into kids and doesn't want them. And I mean that I've kind of like come to the decision for myself that I don't really want to have kids either. Like, as much as I love kind of my niece, and we've got a nephew as well, Sandy's brother's got a kid. As much as I love them to bits, I don't know how parents do it. I don't know how you do it full time. It's always nice being able to hand them back to their parents. So I don't have plans to have my own. Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. And if you have questions for Chris, please pop them in now in capitals. So any other synchronicities or anything like that we didn't cover or talk about that have happened?
The only other kind of wee thing I'm going to mention is, and this only happened a couple of days ago. It was I don't know if you were there when I was saying on my live on Thursday, but I had my niece overnight on Wednesday night and Thursday night. Because they had electric works going on in their house, and there was wires and shit everywhere, and there was no power and stuff, so they couldn't really have her running about. So I took her, and I've got it's basically like a kind of smart cam for your home, but you can use it as like a baby monitor type thing.
Yeah.
So I set it up in her room when she's sleeping, just so that I can kind of keep my eye on her and check on her every so often, because I'm always paranoid that, don't know, something bad's going to happen. So I like to be able to check. And when I was looking, now it was maybe Thursday morning when I was looking in on her, it's weird because it was like almost like there was things like white things flying in front of the camera. To be honest, it was probably like a fly or dust, or there's probably a perfectly logical explanation for it. But I just remember thinking like that looks weird. Like, why is it that color kind of thing? Do you know? And why does it? I don't know. It was just weird the way it was moving, and so that's really the only other thing that I can think to mention. But like I say, there's probably a perfectly logical scientific explanation for it.
Do you like you talked about that it was really wasn't until you watched Jilly's interview with Amber, um, and how because of her respect you took that on board. If it wasn't for that, do you think you would even be half questioning, is this anything else? Or you'd be straight at that skeptical mind, there's a reason for this?
No, if it wasn't for that, to be honest, I would probably have been like, "Oh, there's a fly in Sophie's room." Mhm.
Mhm.
Oh well,
Yeah.
and that would have been that. But it was just because it was within my sphere of consciousness because I'd seen it and because they were talking about it.
Yeah.
That I've thought.
Mm. Yeah. Well,
So,
that'll
yeah.
be interesting to see what comes in the future if you if they're trying to test your skeptical mind or not.
I know, I know. We'll see.
Candy's asked, whereabouts in Scotland are you?
I'm in Glasgow, Candy. Born and raised. I've always lived in Glasgow. So I live in a. I really like where we live. I live across. This might sound weird, right? But so I live across the road from a loch, which is like a lake. Um, Loch is just a Scottish word for lake, I think. So I
I'm
live
glad.
across the road from a loch, and it's not a big loch, but in like kind of in the middle of it, there's like a wee island type thing that you can't get to, and I don't think anybody would really have any interest in going across to it. So it's basically like this small bit of land that's not get no human interaction. Nobody's ever on it. It's only nature,
Yeah.
and like animals and stuff. For some reason, that I like having that close by. I like having that kind of bit that's been untarnished by humans because, like, to be honest, is there really very many places like that anymore?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So that's quite special to me. But yeah, that's Glasgow. Again, another very long answer to a simple question. Glasgow. Um,
And Wood Thrush Cottage is asking, do you have any cool tarot shops in Glasgow?
yeah, not very many, but yeah, you can find them. So I've only really been in one. In Glasgow, there's one. It's called Enigma 23, and it's on High Street. So it's basically in our city centre. Um, and it's just a wee shop. And it does like kind of tarot and kind of occult type things. That's what it's called. I think it says Enigma 23 tarot and occult. Um,
Yeah.
so
And I
yeah.
know you talked in one of, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was your life. You're in so many lives, I can't remember where I've heard it, but
I know Justin said the other day, he says, I can't remember who said it first, but it's like you're like the village bike of the tarot world. I was like, "Oh, thank you very much." But to be fair, it's probably it's true because I do lives with quite a lot of people, but I really enjoy it. I love like kind of interacting with different people, and I love the amount of different people that I get to speak
yeah,
to and see.
yeah, so I agree. So yeah, I'm sure it was your live where you were talking about watching Ellen Shane when they were like they're going to start putting together their book of grimoires, and you've kind of got yours prepped. So outside of tarot, what other interests do you have?
So I don't have one prepped yet. I've got like this kind of I just call it like a journal. I've got this that I just kind of write stuff in.
Yeah,
So like daily car pulls, I'll quite often write about that. Every tarot play date, I'll do my notes in it. If I'm doing like lives, then I'll often plan them out. I'll have wee bullet points, just things like that. But I'm thinking about maybe getting another book and keeping it as and making it up as we go along through that series. So I'm really looking forward to that series with Ellen Shane. In terms of other practices, I suppose I really don't have anything else. Like tarot reading cards, not just tarot, I've got kind of oracle stuff as well. But reading cards is pretty much as far as my spirituality goes in practice. But I'm interested in kind of getting to know more about the Sabbats. I think the Sabbats for me is going to be a good place to start because I like a wee celebration. I like a good holiday, and I don't know. I just like the idea of getting to know all about the Sabbats and just doing wee things to celebrate them. Nothing like I'm not going to have all the family over and try and have them like celebrating like belting and all that kind of thing. It's nothing serious like that, but just wee things. And I quite like the idea of putting together a wee grimoire or whatever kind of book you want to call it.
Yeah.
Just different things like that.
Yeah. So, like, when it comes to, I guess, starting this book, and that just kind of made me think, do you, I guess, how am I trying to say it? Like, how do you refer to your, like, spirituality? Do you refer to it by anything? Like,
no, I don't define it as anything. I don't know what you would define. The thing is, look, I think sometimes, I'm not saying everybody's like this, but sometimes when you put a label on something, you kind of feel obliged to stick to it, or just maybe not consciously, but subconsciously. When you put yourself in a box, it can sometimes be quite hard to branch out. So I kind of feel like if I don't put a label on it, if I just kind of, just keep it easy ozy, then I'll be more likely to be open to other things and trying different ideas and stuff like that. So yeah, no, I wouldn't call it anything. I don't even know what you would call it if there is a name for it.
Yeah. And Jackie asked, do you have an altar or a sacred space?
I mean, again, not really. I've got, it's basically like a kind of like ducats here. It's like one of those shelves that's got like different box compartments. So I've got like part of that has got like tarot books and stuff and tarot decks, and got another bit down here with more decks in it. But nothing that you would refer to as an altar or a sacred space. No. I quite like the aesthetic of like a bookshelf and stuff like that. Like I'm quite like the wall behind me. You can't really see it, but like the corner of the wall is like kind of comes out in a kind of box thing. Where the corner comes out, there must be like something, like one of the structures of the building in there. So I quite like the idea of having basically this whole back wall behind me turned into like a big bookshelf, and having like lots of different like kind of books and stuff like that. So that's my kind of, I really quite like that aesthetic, like that idea of like having all this knowledge.
Yeah.
So that's kind of more, I suppose that's the only thing that I'm kind of planning on doing that for me feels sacred, if that's the right word to use. But in terms of, I suppose, like an actual sacred space, no.
Yeah, fair enough. And hey, Jamie, how you doing? And see you, Jonathan. Thank you for being here. Yeah, so like, and I'm really like, even though you talk about you still have this skeptical side, but then we hear you talk about you're going to start this, whatever you want to call it, the grimoire book, and get that together and learn about different things, and start partaking, in different little aspects of this, that, and the other. I'm really excited to kind of see your journey going forward, and
What
even
happens,
that
yeah.
question of an altar and sacred space, it'll be very interesting to see if, as you build up different, I guess, bits and pieces that you really like, if that then becomes something you desire to kind of put together.
Yeah. Yeah, it's as close to a kind of fresh slate as I guess we're going to get. And I will share it, like anything that I do, anything that changes, I'll probably share it on my channel. So yeah.
Yeah, that's exciting. What about, like, do you have crystals, that kind of thing?
I do. I've got some. I don't really. They sit in a box, and one of these ducats. I can show you them if you want, actually, because there aren't that many.
Yeah, sure.
If you're interested in seeing them. Oh gosh, hang on. So I love it's got a wee kind of door thing, and I keep my incense in this ducat. And every time I open it, I smell the incense, so it smells really nice. We're about to hear one of those Taro Jenga noises when everything falls. Right, now I don't really know what any of these are, so you can help me out. So I've got this wee egg thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
Don't know what it is. Let's see. Got this. I think that might be like green calcite, but again, I'm not sure.
Like it from here, yeah.
Sorry, my skin's really bad, guys, so it is. See, when it comes to this kind of cold weather, my skin really flares up, so I'll use this hand because this hand isn't as bad. I'm always really conscious when I'm doing readings and stuff and putting my hands in front of the camera because I don't know, I'm quite conscious about my skin. Jackie says, Sandra, question mark.
Yes.
I mean, I'm more than happy to name this after Sandra, but I mean, I feel as though I need to get her permission for that.
Sandra's like the queen of knowing what crystals are. She said onyx, green onyx.
Right, okay. Okay, okay. So this looks kind of similar to the green one, but it's yellow.
Yeah, that's yellow calcite.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
This is now called Sandra. I hope you all realise that this is called Sandra. We're calling it Sandra. It has been baptised here and now on Science to the Soul Tarot again.
Well, you can't hide away in a box now that you've given her a name.
I know. I'm good. The thing is, it doesn't sit nicely on the blooming table, so now I'm going to have to find something to make it sit nice. I can't possibly put Sandra away in a cupboard.
When we buy things like that, we get given these little rings that just come with it.
Yeah, I think I might have got something like that when I first got it, but over time it's disappeared. But then I could just find a ring and use that, couldn't I?
Yeah.
Right, Sandra, we'll put you there. I've got this wee kind of black stone.
I get all my black ones confused as to what's what.
It's not see-through at all. It's completely not. It's completely like kind of. What's the opposite of see-through? I don't know. Whatever the word is, I'm searching for.
Don't ask me tricky brain questions. Still
we are getting to the end, by the way. Sorry, I know we're kind of pushing time here, but that.
Naomi's saying obsidian.
Yeah, maybe that is obsidian. Yeah. It's kind of red. It's kind of see-through-ish, like the top of it there.
I don't know. Could be red calcite. It's hard to tell on video.
I really like this one. I've got it in one of these wee bag things.
Yeah, that's rough carnelian.
Right. Okay. This is really crumbly. This. So this is black as well.
I think that's tourmaline.
Right. Okay. So I keep it in this bag just because it crumbles away. So if it gets bashed and stuff. Yeah, I think this might be rose quartz. A bit of rose quartz, maybe.
Yeah, hard to see with the camera, but if it's got a little pink in it, then I would say.
Yeah, it's definitely pink. Yeah, but that's it. That's me. In fact, no, it's not. I've got this. That's just a magnet, though. Do you know? I've got a random story about this magnet. So I think it was Connor, one of my wee brothers, who gave me it. So see, for that reason, when I was at uni, I always just kept it in. Well, I've got one here actually. I kept it in this pocket of my jacket.
Mm-hmm.
But in that pocket, I also kept my travel pass, my subway pass. And the way our underground is subways, the underground, the way our passes work is you get a month's pass, you get them to activate it, and then you just you use it to get through the barrier for that month. You don't need to. But first, I was like, mine's kept having to get reactivated. It never worked, and I was like, why is my pass never working? And the people that worked there were recognizing me. They were like, I activated your pass the other day. I was like, I know, but it's not working. There's the magnet in my pocket that was deactivating it. It took me years to work out that it was the magnet in my pocket, but that's what it was that was deactivating my pass the whole time. So for that reason, it stays with me. It stays in there with the other wee special stones that I've got.
And Candy says, crumbly, Nelly see-through, ... Chris, please write a crystal book. I'd love it.
Gosh, it would be terrible.
Why do you have the crystals and then put them in the box?
You what?
Why did you get the crystals and then they're in a box?
I don't know. It's quite a nice box. It's a nice wee box. It's a lovely box. I'm not just shoving them thoughtlessly somewhere in a corner. They are in a nice wee box, but I don't know. I don't tend to have them out. But from now on, Sandra will stay out. Sandra's going to stay out with me.
Many comments about not keeping Sandra in a box.
Nobody puts Sandra in the corner. Oh dear.
I've got some crystals that are just, sort of all together and chucked in a dish. But do you pull them out, like, if you're doing a reading? Like, do you do anything with them? Like, what was the original purpose, I guess, in buying them?
I've had them for years.
Okay.
All of them. I've had all of them for years, and I've always just kind of sat. And at various points, throughout the years that I've had them, I've maybe like kind of sat them out when I was doing readings and stuff. The last I used them, it was maybe a couple of months ago when I would, I think it was usually the yellow one because it sits quite nicely in my hand. See, if I was feeling like when I'm working, because I work, this is my computer's where I work, so I work here. If I was, I don't know, just feeling like stressed out or something, I would just for the sake of, because I don't know if you've noticed, but I've usually always got something in my hand. Sometimes a pen, sometimes I'll sit and shuffle a deck. But I've always got something in my hand that I'm kind of just subconsciously playing with. So I would kind of pick this up and just kind of hold it in my hand, and I don't know. I suppose it calmed me down a bit, but yeah, that's really the only way that I've used it anytime recently.
Yeah, fair enough. Naomi's saying that I've got some crystals, ... I have a shop's worth. Getting close, Naomi.
See, that's the thing. See if I go down that rabbit hole of getting into crystals as well, like, I think it's a slippery slope, like, because I know what I'm like. I'm a collector. That's my personality type. So I will, all my money will go in crystals, and I think Sandy's, his tolerance and his sympathy with me might just kind of, it might have an end point that I might meet at some point. So, yeah, no, I'm pretty much, Sandra can stay out, but the rest of the crystals can go back in the corner.
Yeah, I know a few weeks back, I don't even know what it was now. I'd ordered something. It might have been just an oracle deck, the Buddhism reading cards oracle deck I wanted. And my hubby was on a day off when it came in. So I specifically went, I'm not going. Can you go and pick this up? Because it will be much safer that way. So he did. Thanks, Jackie. So I missed Woodthrush Cottage asking about your necklace, saying, is it a ring on your necklace?
Yeah, this is my engagement ring.
I thought it might.
Yeah. Because I'd said about my skin, it was reacting. My finger was reacting with it, so I can't really wear it. But I wear it around my neck, and where I've designed my wedding ring, and I'm getting it made out of platinum, I think, which apparently is like the best for people with skin conditions. So yeah, this is my engagement ring that I wear around here.
Lovely. And totally off topic, but Candy says working title, Rocks in a Box and Sandra. Yeah, so this crystal book now. You're giving great ideas. We've had people they're now going to go put SpongeBob on their altar.
Gosh, do you know what? I've got a SpongeBob cup downstairs. I should have used that rather than trying to be a fancy bitch with my gin glass.
All right. So, does anyone have any final questions for Chris?
Will I do a wee card pull, Jen? I like to do a wee
Yep.
card pull any time I do a. Is that okay? You don't mind?
Go for it. Yep.
Just do a pull for the collective for the weekend.
Absolutely.
Just looking about to make sure there's no cards for this deck's sitting about. I'm quite bad for that. I'll like be sitting shuffling a deck and then I'll realise my 3-card card pool will be sitting. Like, shit. Now to start again.
Sucking all mine up and moving on to one from last night. Like I'm like setting up with you today. Indeed, Candy. Chris is a joy.
Oh, thank you very much, Candy.
Mandy says, I have to go. Someone needs to pray for a teenager in Maryland. Oh, dear Mandy, I totally resonate. That was my night last night. So lots of love to you and good luck. And good luck to the kids.
Is there someone's weighing in big trubs?
It must be time for it, I'm sure.
What age are your kids, Jen?
My daughter's 17 and my son's 15. Well, he'll be 16 in January.
Right, okay. Your son looks older than 15. Because I've watched the video that you did with the both of them.
Yeah, because he's like 6'4" and yeah, looks a lot older and makes me feel really old standing beside me and bending down to like hug me.
Nice sweet glow. Oh yeah, Michelle, that's always, you can always tell how long I've been on alive for by the colour of my face. My face always gets progressively more red. I don't know if that's even what you mean. You're getting a nice wee glow up going on there. Glow up. Is that what she means? Like my face is going red? Michelle, tell me if that's what you mean.
From the beer with the little beer emoji there.
Right, let's pull this card. I've shuffled these to death now. Yeah, she says, yeah, you're on it. Oh, look, 6 of Wands. Everyone's weekend's going to be amazing because the 6 of Wands essentially is the victory card. I feel as though I'm talking this card to death lately because it keeps coming up. But
that's been coming up for you, yeah.
Yeah. So I like to when I read, I like to break things down to the suit and the number and kind of put it together. So 6, it's about it is that kind of victory kind of number. It's that kind of harmony number, but 6 is obviously coming from the 5. There's something flying in front of me. It's coming from the 5, so 6 is almost like coming through that conflict, that challenge, and winning. Do you know what I mean? It's about conquering that challenge, and that's why it's such a sweet victory, because it's not just like something nice happens to have fallen into your lap. You've actually worked your absolute arse off for this victory. So that's the 6, and then the Wands is obviously it's the suit of passion. I like to the way I like to think about it is the fire is it's that kind of journey to find your purpose in life. That's, to me, that's the bottom line of it. Now, whether that it lights that fire in your belly, it gives you that kind of passion, that feeling of passion. It might be your job. For some of us, it might be our family. It can be a myriad of different things, but the thing that they all have in common is that they give you that kind of, right, okay, this is one of the reasons I was put on this earth. This is my kind of raison d'etre, if you want to put it that way. That for me is what fire is all about. So to put those two together, that victory and that purpose, is such a sweet feeling to have. Another kind of thing I like to pull on, and I always like to mention when I pull this card, is this. I kind of like to mention this idea of this energy exchange. So not just are you winning, not just are you kind of going through that trial and winning, but you can see the card. She's obviously celebrating, right? She's celebrating because she's won. She's come first in a race. The crowds are all being energized by that. They're watching her and they're rooting for her, and that the energy that they feel from watching her win is, it's like nothing else. And the other way about is true as well. So she's getting a kick off them cheering for her. They're all cheering her on, and rooting for her, and she gets a real kind of that really kind of gets her going. And so it's this idea of this energy exchange, this exchange of energy. Okay, so putting that into context, so what we were saying was this is a card for the weekend ahead, yeah. So it's looking great. It's looking like we're having that victory, there's purpose and we're achieving things through that purpose, but also be open to that energy exchange. Don't kind of let that go over your head, because that's an amazing feeling. It's even more amazing when you can actually acknowledge what's happening and kind of appreciate it.
Yeah.
6 of Wands.
Here's hoping.
So yeah.
That was awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Chris. This has been so much fun, and I've loved having you on and just chatting with you. And a huge thank you to everyone who's joined in. It's, it's been informative. There's been like goosebump moments. It's been hilarious at times. It's just been fantastic. So
thank you so much, Jen. It was really nice of you to do this, to have me here. I really, from the bottom of my heart, come on, almost there, almost at the end, and then I start slipping over my words. It wasn't the gin, I promise. From the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for having me on and for being such an amazing person in general. Thank you, Jen.
Thank you, Chris.
And thank you to everyone else who was here.
Yes, thanks all, and I hope everyone has a fabulous rest of your weekend.
All right. See you all later.
Bye.
Bye.